Okay, so let's talk about the whole conservative situation regarding the speech given by Amber Rose the other day. I'm not here to break her speech down line by line, criticize what she said, or her past actions in a way to try and invalidate her feelings. Do I agree with her past actions? Not entirely, no. Do I think she has caused some harm in the past? I mean, it's definitely an arguable possibility, but the fact of the matter is that is her past. And that's kind of the point. To summarize her entire speech in the most dumbed down way I possibly can, what she basically said is that she was lied to regarding what she should believe, what is right and wrong, and those lies influenced her political affiliation and decision for years, especially in regards to her feelings for Donald Trump. After believing everything she was told as a fact for so long, she decided to do some research herself, and form her own opinions on other things as she let others decide for her. She was honestly really well spoken, presented herself well, and shared her thoughts, feelings, and the truth of the situation in a way she felt like she should, and she had every right in the world to do that. Instead of seeing all the potential good that could come from this, and respecting her for acknowledging and then trying to make right the things she brought up, many conservatives are demonizing her instead. Not the normal red pill angry guys either, the ones that people don't take too seriously to begin with, although they have spoken up as well, don't get me wrong. Bigger, more influential, and more respected conservative commentators have had a lot to say, some in support, but the ones that aren't definitely need to be addressed due to the reach and influence they have over so many people. Matt Walsh is a prime example of this, and the one that I'ma talk about today. Over the years I've agreed with a lot of his takes and disagreed with a lot as well, but I can usually respect what he's trying to say or do and think he's pretty funny when it's all said and done. I know many people that cross-reference their opinions off of him in order to see if they are in the right, since they truly believe what he says should be law, which I don't think is wise. I don't believe y'all should do that, but instead form your own opinion from your own research, as Amber has said she done to get her to this point. Walsh tweeted out, "The RNC gives a primetime speaking slot to a pro-abortion feminist and self-proclaimed slut with a face tattoo whose only claim to fame is having sex with rappers. Truly an embarrassment. Not a single voter will be mobilized by this person." Okay, bringing up her past to discredit her is not only stupid since we all have said and done things that we aren't proud of, but it goes against Christianity, the idea of forgiveness, and the idea of repentance and redemption as well, which I'm pretty sure Walsh is a Christian, so that's a pretty silly thing to do, especially for him. Yes, I'd consider a past like that embarrassing if I had one myself. I consider face tattoos a silly and irresponsible decision. That's the truth. I'm not gonna sit over here and pretend like I advocate for all that she did, because I definitely do not. My thoughts on abortion will be saved for another video, but let's just say I'm not the biggest fan. That being said, she has a lot of fans herself, and a lot of followers at that, so she may be able to reach people that feel shame for having a similar past, similar tattoos, or similar experiences as well. Downplaying the significant role she could play in truly helping people is absolutely goofy given the reach she obviously has. She could also help encourage the people that are extremely lost right now, people that don't agree with the actions from the left, especially given what all just transpired recently, but also have been led away from the right due to guys like Sneeko, Fresh and Fit, or you when you make tweets such as these. Acting like the right is morally superior and should cast out all people that may not have a past that coincides with those morals is stupid. People are allowed to change, and as I said in my sketch video, redemption arcs are my favorite kind. Since this tweet, he has had others that truthfully don't feel worth getting into, just complaining about Amber Rose and that things aren't going the way he'd want them to go, or the talking points aren't what he'd want them to be, that kind of stuff. Until the latest post as of the time of recording, which states, "Some thoughts on this Amber Rose thing, since it's apparently extremely controversial to say that the Republicans shouldn't give a primetime convention speaking slot to one of the founders of the Slut Walk. I already talked about not condemning people based on their past when they are trying to make up for it, but I'll reiterate it here because it's not cool." Back to the tweet. First of all, maybe Rose has totally changed and had some kind of conversion experience. There's no evidence of that, only that she likes Donald Trump now. There are many examples of conservatives rallying around their new celebrity hero just because the person likes Trump, only to be humiliated and betrayed by that same person shortly after. This has happened countless times. I've caught it ahead of time in nearly every case, and been screamed at by conservatives the way way you all are screaming at me right now. Hopefully this is the first time I'll be wrong about something like this, but I highly doubt it. That doesn't matter. There have been countless times that people have claimed to be Christians, but their actions have reflected something different. Punishing people for trust issues doesn't change the validity of what they may have said in a speech you related to the people you are referencing here. Just like when I call out Christians that don't follow Christianity as they claim to, have false beliefs on what Christianity is, or are twisting it to suit their agenda. If Amber Rose decides to do that with politics once this is all said and done, then she can be criticized for it just as easily, without demeriting the person that she is representing herself as today. I'll never tell someone they can't go to church if they're able, or can't ever find God based on their past alone. We should be open to new people subscribing to our beliefs, whether it's religious, political, whatever. Someone agreeing with you that you haven't always agreed with isn't the end of the world. If you are pro-life but aren't a Christian, that doesn't devalue the fact that you will stand up against abortion. If you vote for Trump for office but don't agree with everything he said and done, you're still contributing to that change in leadership regardless. This same argument can be used against pretty much every politician, including Trump. Remember when he basically said he could, or heck it could have been more of a would, I don't recall, SA someone because he's famous and has that power? Doesn't stop you and I from supporting him, because that's his past and we should be focused on who he is today and the policies and changes he'd be willing to establish. Back to the tweet. Second, even if there has been some kind of conversion, that doesn't mean you take someone who has been a conservative for 42 seconds and turn them into a mouthpiece for your movement. Again, how many times do we need to learn this lesson? A person who has been wrong about everything up until approximately yesterday morning needs to be learning and listening, not giving primetime speeches at a political convention. Okay man, a ton of people are given the ability to speak in these conventions, and she wasn't a mouthpiece used for no reason. She chose to share her story to millions of people that may have truly needed to hear it. You're escalating the situation into something it's not. You also don't know when her opinions on these things may have changed. The amount of research she did leading up to that change, how long she's been conflicted on it. Your points are based on bad faith assumptions. Stop it. Third, just to give you an idea of how new Rose's conversion is, if there has been one at all, it was just this past March that she praised the Satanic Temple for helping a lot of people by making sure they can get abortions. That was March of this year. She has not even pretended to disavow that point of view or any of her far-left views apart from her dislike of Trump. If it is outrageous and offensive to suggest that a person such as this is perhaps not fit to be a primetime Republican speaker, then conservatism as a movement is in even worse shape than I thought. In conclusion, come on guys, what the heck. Again, those could have been her beliefs at that time. They could have changed the day after, they could have changed before and she was trying to save face. She could have been conflicted even as she made these posts, or those posts themselves could have caused the conviction to begin with. Abortion is a different feeling issue for men and women, because people have been told that if they don't believe a certain way, then these are the consequences, and most people are told that supporting it is supporting women's rights in general, that kind of stuff. Her opinion may have changed, it may have not, but her standing and honoring Trump, someone who has beliefs and will establish policies she has seemed to be against, kind of feels like an admission that she's been on the wrong side in its own way. She could disavow things tomorrow or never at all, but it doesn't change the fact that after doing her own research, she realizes Trump is the monster many claim him to be, and that is important to distinguish all on its own. I don't know how someone with your time in politics cannot see how important that is as a development. The left have compared him to Hitler, have called him names I can't even say on most public platforms, and even called for his death, rooting for it in the past few days. Her saying that even though she was led to believe all that bad about him, she still chose to break that cycle and learn for herself may inspire countless others to do the same. Now I do see the other side, but not in the way that you presented it. She could have denounced sex work right then and there, deleted her account and caused a culture shift for a large amount of people, but she didn't. Sure, it wasn't necessarily the time or place given her speech on topic was regarding Trump himself, but she had and still has the platform to do it and yet never has. It It didn't have to be during her speech, but it would have been really impactful if it has happened at all by her in a general sense, you know? I could go into how sex work hurts people's perceptions, puts people in dangerous situations, affects the family, especially kids of the person involved, yada yada yada. Regardless of my feelings towards it, her not denouncing it whenever she did promote it and actively contributed to it does give people a right to be a bit judgmental, or at the very least wary of whether she would do more harm than good. But again, we have to wait to see what happens, and we shouldn't deny someone the chance to maybe make a difference, especially one that we know would happen over what could happen in the future. Risks gotta be taken, and if things go wrong, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Her past doesn't define who she is today, and even if I may not agree with how she went about things, it doesn't change the fact that she's going to make a difference with this statement, already has, and in the long run, even if something goes horribly wrong, this moment right here can be a good thing for everyone. Anyway, I've grown tired of talking about this, so that's all I have to say. Have a great day, thank you.